Namaste friends. Today I am here to talk on a very specific subject, which is the rising trend of women involvement in violence. Yes, that's right, violence. Yeah, and there have been some unfortunate recent incidents which have involved women. Not just suffering from violence. However, they are causing violence. Yeah, women perpetrators of some violent acts. Yeah. So I have been asked to speak astrologically on that, right? And since the trigger for this subject has been the Florida incident, recent February 2018, I think it was Valentine's Day. So I am going to focus on this trend. However, as you would know that when America sneezes, the world catches cold, right? So if there is a global trend, and it is a global trend, there must be something happening out there in America. Yeah, especially in this increasingly more globalized and electronically connected world. So I have drawn this chart for you of, can you recognize this chart? This is Uncle Sam's chart. United States of America, whose freedom was declared by its first president, George Washington, and also Thomas Jefferson on July 4th, 1776, time 10:21 hours, which is taken by Shri K.N. Raoji, and given the understanding of America people in general have, this fairly fits in that frame, and the place is Philadelphia in Pennsylvania. So these are the details that I have used to draw this Vedic chart, right, of America. So what we'll do in this session, friends, is we'll try to understand America from a very fundamental and different level. I'm sure America is such a country which must have been discussed astrologically by both Indian astrologers and elsewhere to a lot of details, right? I mean, so I was wondering that is there anything new or different and yet very relevant that is left for me to speak on this subject, because to understand this rising trend of violence, especially female violence in America and elsewhere, we need to understand America first, and that understanding should be at a very fundamental level. Okay, so that takes me, as I do in every chart, whether it belongs to an individual human being or it collectively begins to belongs to a nation like Uncle Sam, United States of America. Okay, so I will take you to a very basic Indian astrology concept, which is Panchanga, which is a Vedic calendar. Yeah, Panchanga. It's a very common term, and you often see this in every horoscope which is made in India, or any Vedic astrology horoscope will always have the Panchanga details. So what is the basic difference between a Vedic Panchanga, that is a Vedic calendar, and typical English or Western calendar? Well, we all know what is Western calendar and how it is represented, how it is written. Okay, there is a month, there is a date, and there is a year, and there is a day of the week. That's how we usually write in the corporate world. Predominantly, that is followed around the world. So I will talk on the Panchanga, the Vedic astrology Panchanga, guys. Okay, and I'm going to relate that with America. Then I will relate that with the violent trends involving women in America. And if you apply this in whichever country this has happened, you can see the common trend there as well. Yeah, cool. So, Panchanga is a five-dimensional way to represent a date and time. That is the surface of it. Actually, it represents at a time and place how the five tattva or the elements, which are fire, earth, air, water, and the ether, the sky, Akash tattva, how they were interplaying with each other. So the Panchanga captures that interrelationship between the five elements. These five elements, guys, are the basic building blocks of Indian astrology. Whichever system we are talking here, we are talking of the traditional Parashara system, or a specific band of Parashara system called Jaimini system, or something very different. Any of the Nadi systems. There are many Nadi systems. Okay. So any major, or rather, well, I'll not talk of KB, because KB is highly evolved and a different subject. Okay, so I'll not talk about that. Okay, so I am talking of strictly the concepts which are used traditionally in India. Okay, in Indian astrology. And Panchanga, guys, is if you don't know already, is already a basic part of Indian culture. People have Panchanga used in any important activity. They will do a housewarming. There's Panchanga. Buying a property, Panchanga. So this is electional astrology, right? So election astrology predominantly uses Panchanga. That doesn't mean that doesn't have other applications. Of course it has. And in fact, I use Panchanga to have my first hand chart analysis. Okay, so I will use that here, and I will show you that how we understand America through Indian astrology using a very basic building block of Indian astrology, that is Jyotish, called Panchanga, just the calendar. Okay, the five elements that I talked about in the Panchanga are the Tithi, the day of the month. There are 30 days in a solar-lunar calendar that is followed in Vedic astrology, which has 15 days in the brighter month and 15 days in the darker month, which is called the waxing moon and the waning moon. Respectively, they are called Shukla Paksha and Krishna Paksha. Okay, so there are 30 days, 15 and 15, right? So this day, when United States was born, so to say, how are the fundamentals of America? Okay, let's see that, and then we'll try to see the psyche of the American mind. Okay, and then we'll see the relationship of women to that. Okay, cool. And also I will give a karmic healing at the end of this session for America. What America needs to do, okay, to kind of solve a lot of its problems, inherent issues. Every country has problems, right? Cool. So I spoke about Tithi. What does Tithi mean? Tithi is the water element, guys. The day of the month. It's called Tithi, and America was born on this day, and the Vedic Tithi was the day, the date of the month. Okay, it was Krishna Chaturthi. Chaturthi means fourth. So Krishna means the waning moon, the Krishna Paksha. Okay, the darker side of the month. Okay, when the moon is reducing after the full moon, it is moving towards the new moon. Okay, so that was the fourth day in the darker half, and every element, guys, in the Panchanga has a ruler. So this date, that is Krishna Chaturthi or any Chaturthi, I mean in the Shukla, that is the brighter side, also the rulers are same. It is ruled by Mercury. So what does this mean? Water is the emotion, how the brain is configured to think. Okay, that is what is expressed by Mercury in the American society. If you want to know this, I heard a very great astrologer, Mr. Vishti Larson, talking about it, and I love this, and I really see that in every country's chart. It is very nice analogy that I will draw here. If you want to see any country, any culture, how it treats women, how are the values, the people to people, how are the social values in that society? You see the Tithi Lord. The Tithi is Krishna Chaturthi, the fourth, and Mercury is the ruler. That planet is carrying that water element in this chart. So it is in a way a representative of the relationship that moon had with sun. Okay, so we'll not get into those deeper details. Let's study America now. Mercury. Isn't America about being fair, being equal to all? Mercury is, that's why it is it's a planet of the diplomats. It is balanced for everyone. There is everything, something for everyone, right? What are the influences? So it may go either way, it may sway. But by itself, Mercury is a planet which is all about balancing. It's a bridge between two worlds or between two opposite sides. Okay, it brings two different worlds together. That's Mercury. So that's pretty much reflected in the American way of thinking, right? Freedom. I mean, no one should be slave to anyone, and equal rights. This sort of things, really, you see America exhibiting this what do you call, the human face of a country. That is what Tithi Lord would represent. That in America's case is represented by Mercury, and that has gone retrograde. It has its own meaning. I will not get into those details here because this is maybe a half-hour session, and I can go on that. So I don't want to increase the scope of this discussion. This discussion is not about America. Okay, we are trying to. This discussion is about women violence. So we're just trying to understand America on a very fundamental level. So that is what Mercury is doing here. Okay, it is playing the role of how is the psyche of American mind as a society. Okay, cool. The problem here is Mercury is conjunct Rahu. That means now if it has gone to the 12th house. So America is one of the democracies in the world. Okay, I'm comparing America with say European democracies. I don't want to compare that with Indian democracy because India is a very different Eastern society. Okay, and so we'll compare. There is some kind of similarity because Europe is the West as well, and there is some similarity. In some common values that Americans have and Europeans, especially Western Europeans, they have. Yeah, so America is a democracy which has, for some strange reasons we don't understand, resorts to a lot of behind the scenes discussions, and it's an important part of its diplomacy. generally, most democracies they are not so much focused on that, but America has been. Okay, but this is something which is known to everyone, in the world. So this Rahu is always, somehow riding Mercury. Okay, as far as expressing what America wants is concerned. Okay, so there is a lot of, in that sense, at a public level, because from 10th house, this is how we appear to the public. So this is how America appears to the world and to its own people. How the entire American system, right? So if you count 1, 2, 3, so it's the third house of communications from 10th, the side of you which gets lifted, visible. 10th house is right in the midheaven, right? Right, 10th house. This is America's 10th house. How America executes itself, how America conducts itself, how it executes its plans. Okay, this is the carrier house in the person's chart, right? But in America, that is how the country conducts itself within its territory and outside, right? So third house, this is house of communication, water sign. So it is, as far as human values within American systems are concerned, it is good because Mercury is in a water sign, Cancer. That has gone good. But how it conducts, how it communicates, third house is the communication. Okay, so Rahu is impacting there. So Rahu is something which shouts the reality, decisions based on perceptions, fiction, imagination, perhaps fear, not on facts. That is what America seems to be doing at times, right? Mercury also represents, in a human being's chart, an ability to learn from experiences. Rahu somewhat challenges that. So many a times we see that America sometimes take longer than usual to learn from its mistake, right? So that is how it is happening. Okay, now I'll just come to our subject. Don't worry. Okay. So that is what is this element. The other element, guys, which I want to talk about out of those 5 elements of Panchanga is Karana. Karana is about it's the earth element, the Prithvi Tattva, and Karana is about your actual actions. This is how you think. This is how the mind works. This is how the human face of America is, and how America conducts itself to generate resources, to generate finances, to raise the country's resources, to maintain those resources, right? That is what is the earth element, the physical acquisitions, okay, the materialistic acquisitions. That element is the earth element. In Panchanga, it is called Karana, and America's Karana is Bhava, which is ruled by Sun. Do you see a world leader here? Sun. It is also not a coincidence that it has a Leo ascendant, which is fine. It does naturally makes you a leader, someone who is looking to change the things around as per own principles. So on one side, this Mercury, being the Tithi Lord, is all about freedom, being fair, equal rights, and stuff like that. But on the other side, America is very determined, just like Sun is, no distinction, about making own laws and sticking to it. So what America thinks its own people should do, they are supposed to do. What America thinks the world should do, they are supposed to follow suit. Right? Sun is the father at home. The king, the American president, would be very well kind of whenever someone assumes the presidency, that person assumes the role of Sun. And in America's chart, that Karana lot happens to be Sun. So it's a natural significator of power, making the laws, and being very clear, no exceptions, because when sun rays fall, it makes no exceptions. It falls equally on everybody in whichever scope we are talking. Okay, so that is in a very brief the American psyche, the mindset, and how it conducts itself. Yeah, so this is the mindset, this is how it conducts itself. Okay, now we'll see the rising trend. Okay, before I get into that, Mars, this is, if you put this data in this software, you'll see Mars is around 0 degrees. Hasn't America found itself suddenly drawn into battles and wars? Pearl Harbor, September 11, and then what happens, because it deals in a sun fashion, it sometimes gets quite harsh in dealing with that. Right? That's a perception, and you see why this perception is created, because when America is suddenly drawn, because Mars is really in a very awkward position in 11th house, so it reacts in a very decisive way, which is good. Everyone would do that, but then then it it assumes the role of bit of sun's unkindness. That's the only thing about sun which is malefic in Vedic astrology. It becomes a little bit unkind to the other side with whom America is dealing. So sometimes it kind of becomes too harsh, right? So that is how we see how it relates everything. So that happened in in recent history of global terrorism, right? As well as in World War II, we know the atom bomb dropped in Japan and so on, right? So I don't want to talk political stuff here too much. Okay, so now coming to the rising trend presently, what is happening in America? Saturn, the transit Saturn, are right outside. This is the transit Saturn. Transit Saturn is in Sagittarius. Sagittarius, guys, in case you don't know or you have forgotten probably, is a sign which is a sign of not only temples and churches where we battle against our own bad, we surrender to the God in a temple or in a church, or we just go spiritual, even if you don't visit these religious places. Even at home, when we are battling our own materialistic side, okay, there's a battle going on, right? I mean, the arrow pointing up, it's aiming for spirituality, but it's grounded in the form of an animal on earthy plane. So it represents that battle symbolically. It is actual battlefield as well. When the battle happens, that is represented by Sagittarius. Why? Because if this is a fight, this is battlefield. I mean, if not house, the sign I'm talking, if the Virgo or Kanya Rashi is conflict, 6th house in the natural zodiac, if it conflicts, the 4th from it is the house of it. This is the battlefield. This is where the battles are fought. Saturn is presently here. And when that Florida incident happened, Mars was here. Now see, they both are aspecting Moon in its natal chart. So in that incident, Mars was here. The transit Mars, I'm writing outside. The transit Mars was here. Saturn was here. So what is happening? Saturn and Mars, they were aspecting Moon and Mars is both of them are expecting this as well. Don't forget Venus among 3 male signs is here. That is one reason in 250 years of American democracy we don't have a woman president. That this Venus is trapped here. Though this is quite functional, and we'll see before I conclude, I'll talk about this separately. However, See, Mars, and when September 11 happened, Saturn was here. Mars was here. You see how this is becoming important. Whenever something happens here like this, America, something happens with America. So some violent incident involving America has happened. Okay, and this time it involved women, ladies. The natural psyche was too much of about war, violence, and the unfortunate incident occurred, right? So this is one of the main reasons for it. Okay, now presently Mars is in Sagittarius as we are talking. Yeah. So if you see this, there is a lot of brittleness about how women are on the surface of in America. How on the surface everything is for equal rights, right? But what has happened is America happened to be denying instinctively, okay, women their due, what do you call, share in American society. We know about women live and so on, and this is not a feminist language, really. I mean, far from it, okay. But if you see, there are more things about America I did not talk about, okay. For obviously, I have to limit my timing here. Okay, America, Saturn is also aspecting the natal Saturn. The transit Saturn is aspecting natal Saturn. If you see presently, so you see that this trend, okay, will continue over next few months. However, if Saturn comes here, I expect optimistically that this trend will subside. Okay. Now going back to what I was just talking about America and the karmic healing that I spoke about. These 4 planets in 11th house, very good. America is a prosperous society, a prosperous country, right? Moon occupies Dhanishta Nakshatra. So American mind is wired, is configured towards prosperity. The prosperity that comes with having fairness, being nice to all. So that the foundations of America are very strong. Again, I mean, you see 3, 7, 11, the desired trine is ruled by the air signs, perfect. Okay, these the lineage trine 1, 5, 9 again ruled by fire signs, perfect. Okay, 2, 6, 10, 2, 6, 10 ruled by earth trine signs, perfect. So the foundations of America are fine. There's only one problem in America, only one problem, which I would love to see someday rectified. America needs a woman president. Why? I'm not saying just because just to sound nicer to women. No, far from it. I don't do that. I'm saying that because there is a very fundamental Nadi principle, and I remember Sri A.V. Sundaramji talking about it, and I've seen it in charts after charts how correct it is in case of human beings, and I see today in case of America as well, guys. You know what that principle says? It says, look at your chart. Any planet sitting here, that person needs you. Any planet sitting here, you need that person. You got Jupiter here, people need the Jupiter in you, the Jupiterian stuff, okay? They need a guru out of you. They need you to lead them. They need you to be fair and moral and teach them the higher values and show them the way. Act as a guide. And if Jupiter is here, you need one such person. You need that guru. Okay? It's very important Nadi principle, guys. Every chart, if it is the correct chart, will reflect this. Every correct Vedic chart. Okay? America has moon in 7th house. It needs the woman. It needs the softer side. This woman is burnt alive. It's combust. It's combust. America needs a woman, a woman who is moon-like, not the Martian side of women, which somewhat I think unfairly is projected by the world. That woman is not the representative of American woman. The moon, the emotional, the more socially balanced, the softer side of America has to show up. America needs a woman president. Somehow or the other, mystically or magically, you'll see a lot of America's socio-economic issues will start sorting out by itself if America has one good woman president. It's time for it, don't you think? Cool. So I'll just not go beyond that. Okay, and a lot of comments I'm expecting, and I will look forward to them, and I'll definitely reply to each and every comment that makes any sense whatsoever. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can see the notes below this frame in the summary section. And that's about it, guys. I hope you have a lot of things to ponder over and discuss with me thereafter. So thank you, guys. Thank you for listening to me.